Hi all, my name is Ranita Bolton and I'm going to explain to you about chapters 1 through 3 in the book called Words at Work and Play, 3 Decades in Family and Community Life by Shirley Bryce Heath. Chapters 1 talks about manufacturing and agriculture that sets racial segregation and how it had discrepancy in the quality of housing, transportation, education, and how it kept black and white, poor and middle class families living in a separate world. The teachers who are black and white were respected in the mainstream, knew that property, ownership, and education background would provide insurance that would protect economic or social setbacks. In Piedmont, Carolinas had 300 black and white families, and Tracton is a neighborhood that has 16 black families that were trying to make sense of what desegregation and equal rights might mean for them. In Chapter 2, there are a group of young actors who work at Liberty Theater in Chicago, Illinois. They write about problems they are trying to sort out for themselves, possible ways to solve societal issues that is related to discrimination, crime, and poverty. These students were writing plays, scripts, staging, casting, and setting times for rehearsal for students to be in a play. The students are writing plays about violence in the inner cities of Chicago. Also in Chapter 2, they talk about a young man named Jerome who was being taken care of by his Aunt Rosa, who later ends up dying. After she dies, Jerome, as a young man, is tossed around from foster home after foster home. Jerome moved to New York for a little while, then decides to move to Chicago and meets a lady named Tia Maria. She recognizes who he is from the Green family from Tracton. She puts together things and realizes that she knew Jerome's mom named Zinnia Mae. Zinnia Mae ended up moving to Atlanta, having 3 more children. Zinnia Mae had Jerome at a young age and decided to give him to her sister named Rosa. Jerome ends up living with Tia Marie, who gets him involved in acting. He finally started having friends. Making a long story short, he then graduated with a degree in English and ends up marrying his best friend's girlfriend named Lucia. He became successful in acting and even thought he went through a lot in his life. In Chapter 3, Martin is a kid who grew up in Rodeville, 3 miles away from Tracton. He was born in the 70s after Zinnia Mae. Martin and Danny were the children who lived in Rodeville. They had normal lives. They went to church. They grew gardens, went to the grocery store and to the mall. They did chores and jobs at home, and they would have family get-togethers. Also in Chapter 3, it mentions the number of descendants who lived in and relocated from Tracton and Rodeville, starting from the years 1969 to 2009. Also in Chapter 3, they talk about the instructional patterns that characterize youth organizations dedicated to either arts or science-based activities. The caregivers who cared for the children had a common interest in technology. They soon realized that communication with the young folks is very important. Why? Because the young folks know things that can help the older adults. And the children had to map themselves outside their homes in roles as performers, artists, and scientists. My question is, when Jerome rides the elevator to the top of the hotel and looks out over the city of Chicago, did he feel he made it at the top of the society? And number 2, what do community youth organizations do for the children?